Okay. So hey y'all, welcome back to Couch Conversations, y'all. Um, this is where we just don't talk. We don't just talk about things. We confront, we unpack, and we heal out loud. That's what we're gonna do on today. Okay. I'm your host, Venus Chandler. Hey. But before we get started into this episode, I want to say this. This conversation may be triggering for some. We will be speaking honestly about personal truths, trauma, and internal battles many of us try to avoid. So please take care of yourselves while you're listening to this, okay? Now, this episode is called Facing the Truth About Ourselves. And let me be clear, this is not an easy conversation. It isn't even easy for me. And I've been on this healing journey, okay? So, because a lot of us have mastered the art of surviving, right? We have mastered that art, but we have not mastered the art of the courage that it takes to stand in the mirror and look at ourselves and be truthful. And I gotta be honest when I say this. I thought, no, I can stand in the mirror and be truthful about who I am, but even I have some issues that I still have to really tackle and yeah. And I think that this conversation is going to bring some of that to the surface. Okay. We've mastered the truth about, you know, what we've been through, or I should say, we have not mastered that truth. Okay. We have not mastered the truth about what we've allowed in our lives. And we also have not mastered the truth about telling the truth about who we become as a result of all these things that we've been through. Right, because healing it doesn't really begin until the denial stops. We have to stop the denial, and I can say for a long time that I was in denial, and there's even some other stuff that I'm even going through right now that I see that I was in denial about, and until I was able to face that, um I wasn't able to even talk about the truth of it all. So that was pretty difficult. So today we are going to be going there and talking about all these things, and I'm telling you, what better person to have on the couch than Miss Jewel Carter. Jewel is the author of a powerful voice when it comes to self-reflection and telling truth. Okay, her book, The Mirror Doesn't Lie, challenges us to stop avoiding what we see and start dealing with the real. Okay, because the mirror, it doesn't filter, it doesn't protect our feelings, it shows exactly what's there. And that's what today is all about, having the courage to face yourself even when it's uncomfortable. So if you've ever struggled with being honest with yourself, if you've ever avoided your own reflection, or if you're in a season where you know something has to change, this conversation is for you. So it's for me. It is for me today as well. So take a seat on the couch and let's talk about it. Jewel Carter is an author, a speaker, and a voice behind the Mirror Movement, a platform dedicated to helping people break cycles and reclaim their peace through radical self-reflection. She is the author of The Mirror Doesn't Lie, a guide to radical self reflection, a book designed to help readers stop performing, confront their truth, and step into who they were created to be. Based in Ohio, Jewel is passionate about creating conversations that challenges people to look inward and take ownership of their personal growth. So let's give a warm welcome to Miss Jewel Carter. Hey girl, hey boo.
Hey y'all. Hello. I'm so excited to be here and I just want to extend gratitude for having me on the platform. I appreciate you and what you're doing for the community, for women, for me.
You are so welcome. We sort of kind of met by accident, but well, some people call it accident. I think that there's no accidents, especially when meeting people and crossing paths with people.
Mhm.
And let's see. So we're gonna listen. Let's get into it, okay? So
Yeah.
So I want to know some things. There's some questions that I have for you, and we can start there. And if the conversation takes us wherever it takes us, that's fine too. Okay,
Okay.
but I want to know what inspired you to write "The Mirror Doesn't Lie."
Well, I've always been someone who reflects. I always go inward first. I'm that friend that'll be like, "Am I tripping? Am I tripping?" Like I'm always asking me. I'm always making sure I'm checking me and my heart posture and just, where what role I play in things. So when I started doing lashes and having those conversations with other women, and I feel like I create a safe space for people. It just my energy creates a safe space. So I had women coming in there, opening up and talking, and I always found myself redirecting them to the power they hold in the choices that they make. And that is what clicked for me. We need to get more people to understand, especially women, because the truth of the matter is women are the givers of life, right? Nobody walking this earth would be here without a woman. So we have to understand the power that's in that. And I wanted women to understand there's power in choice. You get to decide how are you going to move forward in things, right? If women are coming in, they're complaining about the men that they're dating, how things are going in their life. It's like, take your power back. Go in there and be honest with yourself. 9 times out of 10, you saw the red flags in the man, but you're comfortable there, so you're staying. It's You have a choice. Maybe not always a comfortable choice to make, but you have a choice. So I went through a breakup, and I had pulled up some old, like, I had been writing, and I pulled out that manuscript, and it was just like God was like, let's turn this around. Let's shift this. Let's get other people to understand the power that's inside of them by just choosing differently.
Right,
Hmm.
right. So what was that moment for you? Like when you said, "Okay, listen, I have to confront myself too. I have to look in that mirror." What was your moment? What made you say, "Okay, something's got to change here"?
Um, Honestly, deciding to leave that relationship, right? He wasn't a bad man, but there was an alignment there. There was a comfort. I had realized that honestly, I was operating out of my own abandonment wound. And when you haven't been loved properly and someone comes in and they're loving you, even if it's not in alignment or what you feel you deserve, you stick in that, you stick around. It's like, okay, I've struggled with abandonment, but they're here, so it was a comfort for me. And I had to really sit with that, because sometimes we'll stay in relationships that aren't fulfilling because of that comfort, because of whatever wound that we're dealing with. And I had to really really be honest with myself and say, are you really happy here? Do you feel fulfilled here? Or are you just doing this because it's a body here?
You know what? So I might have to tell you this off camera because there is a sense of shame still connected to it. I have been married several times, and a lot of the times, it's the same thing that I got into these relationships, and there I was, and felt stuck and ashamed to leave because I'm like, here's another relationship and another relationship, but I knew that these relationships they were damaging me,
Hmm.
so. Whew, ooh, that's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's deep. And you know what? It's so crazy because it's making me, even now, even talking about it, it's making me think about like Venus, you're gonna have to get in the mirror about this. You're gonna have to really come to terms why you did this. I've been married 7 times. My
Hmm.
husband that I'm married to now, this is my seventh marriage. And it's so crazy. We eloped, but this is someone that I've been off and on with for 30 some odd years. And
Hmm.
this is like he is the love of my life. He's always have been.
Hmm.
And even when I married him. At the time that I married him, I knew, like, I'm rushing this thing, you know. But and I didn't even think about alignment. I just thought I love him.
Yeah.
And but the one thing I did, and he did too. It's like we really have to go to God about this, and we really have to, if we want to stay in this marriage, and it was rough. It was
Yeah.
rough. And so I know exactly what you're saying. And how long were you in this marriage? Or I should say
We were
relationship.
together. We were together for 8 years.
Yeah.
8 years. We were engaged for three, two. We were engaged for two, and that was kind of my indicator, right there. Um, when it got real, I said, "Oh, let's think about this. Is this really what you want to do?" Also, there was a sense of purpose calling me forward that he wasn't, like I said, he wasn't a bad guy, but there were things he needed to work through that I don't think he was realizing he needed to work through. And I felt like I was holding back walking my purpose to make sure I kept his security in place. Like, you know, I know he would have supported me, but I don't think he would have, it would have triggered so many of the wounds he still had to deal with. And I was seeing that. And yeah, it was 8 years. It was probably the hardest decision that I had to make, but it was me being obedient, because it wasn't even just a me thing. It was God. Like, you have to walk this purpose. You're trying to go somewhere. You're trying to be a vessel for me, and this is holding you back. This is anchoring you, because he wasn't willing to get in the mirror.
Ooh, now that's deep.
Yeah.
That's real deep. And I know, listen, I'm trying to stay on topic, but I don't know. This is what I'm saying, that there's still things that I need to get in that mirror about, thank God. Thank God. When it comes to my marriage, my husband supports me on everything. You know,
Mhm.
some things I gotta admit, some things he just don't understand it. But on the same hand, he like, I don't understand it, but you know what? I'm gonna support you on that. But
Mhm.
I didn't even think about, we're gonna go back to that alignment thing. I didn't even think about alignment because I knew I had a calling on my life. He has a calling on his as well. You know,
Mhm.
and what does that look like when we have people that come in and that's distracting us from that? Because that's
Mhm.
something that we have to do. That's something that was given to us by God, right?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
never thought of anything like that. I was already walking in my purpose at the time. Okay.
Mhm.
So and let me tell you something. When it comes to having other people's lives in your hands and they're counting on you and relying on you and everything, that's big.
Yeah.
So I didn't think about that either. I just rushed in and you know, but thank God, God was in it. He was in it.
Yeah.
He was in
Yeah.
it.
It's
Because that could have been
necessary.
a bad thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, and that was kind of the thing. He also has a calling on him. I could see that. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember there was a time where I was in one of my moments, worship, praying, crying, in that moment. And God said to me clear as day, ask him how he feels when you're doing this. And I got up from the crying and all that, and I asked, because I asked him, I said, how do you feel when you witnessing this? And he was like, I've watched this my whole life. Da, da, da. I said, well, are you gonna walk this out with me? He's like, yeah, I can't do that. Oh, that's a little not necessarily that's heavier than I like to do, but he just kind of it was a straight up, yeah, I'm not ready to walk in my purpose. I don't want to tap into that calling. And I literally told him, I'm letting you know now, God's calling me and I'm going. And if I got to walk this path by myself, that's what I'm going to have to do. I then
Yeah.
still gave time to see, are you going, hey, Cause I gotta go. I'm keep coming back to the gate. I'm headed down the path. I'll get so far in, and then I see you back there, and I'll run back like, come with. And you standing outside the gate, baby. I want to be in the gate. And he kind of just was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do that. I don't think even in that moment he realized what was happening. I'm sure now maybe he does. I'm sure he'll sit back and think back on those moments and be like, she said that. Like she said God is calling her, and she trying to pick up the phone. And I
Right.
wasn't.
Yeah.
And I think it's important when doing this work that your partner is walking to.
You better say that. And
Yeah.
that's very, very, very important. And it's crazy you said you kept running back. It's like, are you ready yet? And it didn't do anything but delay what you had to do. And you know what's so crazy about it? Somebody told me, they said, can you imagine how many people are dying on your watch because you
Mm-hmm.
you haven't showed up yet? I'm like, and until somebody told me that, it's like that sort of kind of blew my mind. That blew my
Mm-hmm.
mind. But Jewel, let me ask you this: in writing this book, this is a deep. This is deep. This mirror thing, I'm telling you, and it's called a mirror. It's mirror movement, right?
Yes.
So, this is deep. But what was the most emotional part of writing this? What was the most? What sparked those emotions?
Owning my part.
Ooh.
Owning my part because we spend a lot of time. It's easier to project the blame, right? I could all day long be like, he was holding me back, he was da 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 da, but I had a choice in the matter, right? I had to choose whether or not I allowed you to hold me back. So just being honest with myself, I think, was the most emotional part. Realizing how many times you repeated a pattern because you didn't want to make a different choice. Realizing how many times I repeated a pattern because I was trying to make sure other people were comfortable.
Don't have me to run down the street and run back. Please don't, girl. Ooh, that literally, I got my hair, the hair on my arms just stood up. That is powerful. People do not understand this thing about these patterns,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're not aware, you will keep repeating them,
Yes.
cycles and patterns.
Oh
So
yes.
that is ooh,
Because God, you'll wonder, okay, why do I keep attracting this same type of friend, this same type of man, this same type of people around me? And we love to say it's them, but there's something in you attracting that, right? We're all mirrors, right? We're all a reflection of each other. So when you look at the people around people, you get an idea of who they are. And so if I'm continuously allowing myself to be in this cycle, that's a me thing. That's a me problem. That's something that I can fix. And I'll be honest with you. There were times where I would try to point out to him, hey, I don't know if you see this, but you're operating in a wound from your past marriage, from your past in your childhood. And he would always tell me, well, you the one that had the rough childhood, you the one who need to do the healing. And I took that literally because I said, you know what, and I have to thank him for that, because what you did is you always pointed the mirror back, and I realized you right, I could do something about me. I can't do nothing about you,
that's
but I
right.
can do something about me. And
Mhm.
so thank you for that, because that then made me start, okay, well, let me dig in. Let me realize, okay, my childhood did affect me in this way, but here's the pattern that's happening because of it. And I can change that.
That's what I was going to ask you too. So, in writing this book, how do you think it changed the way that you see yourself?
I stopped seeing myself as broken,
Mm,
and I started seeing myself as responsible, right, for the choices that I make. I took my power back. And especially, a lot of the things that broke us, we had no control over. They were mostly childhood things. A lot of us are affected by our childhood, but we don't really know how to grasp that because it happened when we didn't have control, right? But we have the control on how we show up now. And so, sitting with the things that I had been through in my childhood, I had to take my power back. I had to realize that because those things happened to me when I didn't have a choice, they didn't that doesn't mean that I'm broken or I'm damaged goods or I have to continue to be operating from a broken spirit. I'm allowed to pick myself up and be whole. Those things are testimonies. They are what built me. And I've made it through those things. I've made it through 100% of the things that tried to break me. I stand here today strong.
Come on, somebody.
And
Come
so
on.
why would I continue to keep allowing them to affect
Hmm.
me in
Hmm.
such a way in my adult life when I have the power?
Hmm. Well, why do you think other people have such a problem like looking in that mirror and dealing with that?
Ego. Ego and fear. I think it's scary to realize when you've been the problem, and not necessarily the problem, but responsible for the choices that you made. I don't like to say
Just
problem,
you
but
right over
you
here, honey.
and then ego, right? Because a lot of us are walking around with a mask on. We're performing the being strong. We're performing, all of the different things. So when you didn't have that mask on, that ego, that's what I like to call it, for so long, you don't want to see the truth. You
You, girl, listen. I'm about to listen. Let me run down the street and run back.
listen,
You
I mean, it's
all up
just
in my
easier to blame.
brain
It's easier to
because,
blame other people.
ooh,
It's so much easier. It's so
yeah,
much easier to blame
yeah.
other people.
Yeah.
And
Well,
and
that's
that's
what I did for many, many years. I mean, like, no, you was because I was molested, because I was neglected, and it's you. But no, I just said this not too long ago. There comes a time when you listen, when you're grown, it is not your fault what happened to you, but it is 100% your responsibility to heal from this. You have
yes.
to do it.
Yes.
This is your responsibility. And is it fair? No, it isn't fair. You
Mhm.
can't keep going around blaming people. Let me tell you, what I'm going through now, even with my children, I have two children that I'm estranged from. So I wrote the book Cut Off not too long
Mhm.
ago. And that's what I was talking about. And that is what I'm trying to get people to understand. You have to take responsibility for you.
Yeah.
Okay? You can't continue to blame other people. Yes, what was done to me was horrid. Okay? It
Mhm.
was horrible. It set my life in a whole totally different direction.
Mhm.
But listen, it is my responsibility to get it right now. It's my sorry about that. It's my responsibility.
Mhm. It's just we avoid, right? That's an uncomfortable thing to sit in. Most of us, let's be real, most of us have blacked out from that, blocked it out. You don't even remember a lot of the things. And once you start peeling back those layers and things start coming to surface, it does not feel good. But you can't heal something if you don't like let it breathe. If you don't sit in it, like you have to be able to like cry, be angry, get those emotions out. Sometimes it's so suppressed that you
Yeah.
don't even realize how bad it's hurting you still. And so when those things start to rise, people be ready to push them back down. But if it's coming up, it's coming out. If it's
That's
coming
what
up,
I
it's
was
coming out.
that's what I was going to ask. What do you think people are afraid of? I know what I was afraid of, honey. But what do you think that people are afraid of?
Reliving that, having to put yourself back in that space to accept that it happened and to release the shame. So, like, even if just speaking on sexual assault, right? There's a shame that comes with that, especially if you never talked about it or told anybody and you just held it in. There's a shame. There's almost a guilt that you feel responsible, and you have to release that. You didn't cause that. That is whomever done that to you. That is that is their cross to bear. And you can be angry. I don't think people allow themselves to be angry. I mean, they do, but they take it out in other ways, right? You see people that are walking around hurting, they're angry. Hurt people, they're bleeding on other people because they haven't sat with what's hurting them for real, and release that anger. So even in my journal that I created, I have where you write letters to people, Write it out. Get that anger out. You're allowed to be angry that they did that to you. You're allowed to feel sad. You're allowed to sit in those feelings, but we don't. And honestly, let's be real. A lot of us black women and women just in general don't have the ability. We have to always keep going. So we don't even have the time to sit in it because our next task is on the list. Our kids need us, our husbands need us, our friends or whomever need us. But sometimes we need to take a pause and reflect and really sit in what we've been through and allow that to come out, release itself, because it'll sit festering in your body. That's how sickness is created. That's how depression happens. That's anxiety. That's all of those things. It's really just stuff that you haven't really allowed to come on out. Just let it come out. Cry it out. You got to cry for weeks. That's okay, but pull yourself out of that.
Yeah, that's another thing too. People don't understand that, the depression and all that stuff, it can actually kill you. My mom was young. My mom was 49 when she passed away. She passed away from a broken heart. And my mom, and she just is, she couldn't release that stuff. She just
Hmm.
couldn't. And I'd be like, I wish what I know now, I wish I would have known then and I could have helped her and she could have lived. She was
Hmm.
just so just depressed. And
Hmm.
she allowed the world to just really just beat her down. My
Hmm.
mom had me when she was 14 years old, and she had been through sexual abuse and, a lot of different traumas and things like that. And my mom, she just couldn't do the work. She
Hmm.
was one who lived in survival mode. My mom didn't really raise me. I grew up in the foster system, and I was in a children's home and lived with relatives and things like that. But my mom was always somewhere near. When I
Hmm.
was 13, my mom just up like, "Hey, I'm out of here. Take care of your brother and sister." I'm out of here.
Hmm.
She couldn't deal with it. She
Hmm.
couldn't look in the mirror. She couldn't. I mean, she could not take any steps into being better. And even
Hmm.
every time she tried, she would just pull back.
Hmm.
And that breaks my heart. So when you meet people, like, you encounter women, and how can you what make you think, or how can you know that that person haven't done the work or started doing the work, or haven't even looked in the mirror to say, this is who I am, and start to break that stuff down? I'm like, how do you know they haven't started to do the work yet?
Key indicators for me is always being busy, so avoiding stillness. People who don't know how to sit with themselves, or if you meet people and they back to back relationships, they don't know how to sit alone. There's there's some heaviness that when they are alone, they're not ready to face. The victim mentality. So people that are always blaming other people, um or just repeating the same cycles. We see it on the internet or in our friendships all the time. She with this man and then leave him, and then the next man ain't no different, so they're repeating cycles. They're playing the victim, or they're just always busy. So that is the number one way that I can tell. You're outrunning, you're trying to outrun your problem, your wound, your trauma, whatever it may be. And what people fail to realize is that'll exhaust you, and then you'll fall, and all of that stuff will catch up. And now it's harder to get up because it's on you. Like you done got tired, you done got winded. You think you about to sit down for a second, and now here come all of this stuff surfacing, and now it's harder to get out of it. But if you would just take the time when things are arising to say, okay, this is what I'm feeling. This is why I'm feeling that. It's okay. I'm safe now, and
So,
just
mhm.
pick yourself up.
So how do you lovingly address it with that person, or do you allow them to come to you and say something? I mean, like,
I
how do
think
you approach that?
I have a really good way with people. I have a really good way of people. I think that a lot of my clients will tell you, like, she gonna tell you the truth. So it may not always feel good. It may not always feel good, but that's the main thing. And I always try to tell people that, okay, this is with love. And I think people know that my heart is pure. I'm not telling you this because I want to make you hurt by feeling it. I want to let you know that there's power in feeling it. There's power in releasing it. I have I I have some women that be like, okay, dang, I needed to hear that, but girl, and I be like, it's the truth though, right? We need to be able to accept the truth. And what do they always say? What's the saying? The truth hurts.
So in your journey, what I mean, like, what helped you? Like, what was that one thing?
Journaling.
Yeah.
Journaling was the
Was it
number
scary
one
though?
thing. It was because you can get dark. You can get dark. You can get dark in those journals,
I
but
know.
that's what I love about it, right? This is my space to be dark. And then I also, honestly, I really started getting in the mirror. Like I know people be like, "What?" when I say that. No, I would get in the mirror
Literally.
and talk to myself. Like, you know how
Literally.
Issa Rae
Yeah.
was on rapping in the
Yeah.
mirror? No, but I'd be in there like, okay, Jewel, what's really going on? Like and just talking myself through it. It's so funny because I was started doing that in that relationship, and he used to be like, I can hear you. Yes. You can hear me, but I gotta get this out. Like I gotta talk myself. I gotta talk to me. Like it almost feels like you having a conversation with your higher self.
For real. No, that's true. Yeah.
So I would just get in that mirror and I would really talk and I would really say the things that even if they felt dark, I would say them because they were truth, right? We can't run from our truth. We can't keep suppressing it to make other people comfortable. We can't even suppress it to make ourselves comfortable. So I just started
Yeah.
getting in the mirror and journaling.
Yeah.
And prayer
Yeah.
and I was listening to, of course, podcasts and reading
Mhm.
books and all of those
Yeah.
kind of things, therapy.
Hmm.
But being honest with myself was the key.
Yeah.
Because even
Yeah.
going to therapy, if you ain't ready to open up fully and tell them everything and just be raw and real out of
Yeah.
fear of judgment, it's not gonna really work. So I had to be able to not judge myself
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. So would you say that you had to do a lot of forgiving of
Yes.
Jewel? Like, forgive her. But so how did the forgiveness, play a part in your healing? How did that happen? Because I know, whew, forgiveness, I'm gonna tell you, is a big thing,
Mm-hmm.
especially when we're trying to heal. We thinking that, like you said, we're going back to when we was talking about everybody else is the problem, and then we realize, oh shoot, it was me.
Mm-hmm.
How was you able to forgive yourself? How did forgiveness play a part of your healing?
Forgiveness was necessary because that's what frees you, right? I wasn't forgiving the other people. I had to forgive myself because I had to realize I didn't know any better at the time, right? And two, like even just speaking on mothers, I had to realize, first of all, our mothers didn't have the same tools we have, right? And she's just a girl too. She's doing this life thing for the first time. My mother's mother died when she was 10, so she didn't have mothering. She didn't know how to
Wow.
mother. And
Mhm.
so I had to forgive her just by realizing, okay, if I'm struggling this way, I know it was even 10 times harder for her in her growing up. And so just forgiving the people who I thought should have supported me first, and then forgiving myself for holding on to those grudges, and then operating the way that I was operating in life, like it freed me. It freed me.
Yeah, I don't know what it was about my mom. For some reason, I always knew when I was younger that my mother was struggling. And I got mad at her when she walked out. I got mad I got mad because she left me behind. I thought I was her homegirl.
Yeah.
Why you leave me?
Hmm.
So I know I dealt with abandonment a lot, like, and I still struggle with it a little bit,
Hmm.
as a result. Um, But I had to forgive my mom, for just walking out, for giving up. Even when, I'm gonna tell you the truth too, when she passed away, I was mad at her. I was so
Mhm.
mad at her. I was so angry with her. Like, you gave up. I mean, it's enough you
Mhm.
walked out when I was 13. You left me with my brother and sister, and didn't care about what life was gonna happen to me. And now here you leaving me again, and this time it's permanent.
Yeah.
What do I do with that? So I think that when my mom passed away, girl, I think I went on a warpath. I'm not going to even kid you. I went
Mhm.
on a warpath. I was like, I've had enough. This is it. And I mean, like, I'm about to destroy everybody. And I
Mhm.
did. I was on this crazy trip for a long time. Oh, a really long time. And I'm 59 now, and I started this journey probably only about 11 years ago.
Mhm.
This journey to healing and forgiving and, trying to evolve. And what can I do to be a better person? Because when I look back at my younger, honey, when I look back at my younger life, a girl, I just think that I was just a bad person. And I was a bad person because, just like you said, hurt people, you
Yeah.
know. And as a result, I think that, well, I don't even think, I know that is one of the reasons why my two older children have the issues that they do, have the
Mhm.
issues that they have with me,
Mhm.
because, how I live my life, because refusing to forgive. I'm like, nah, you did this to me. I've forgiven you. I can remember even saying it out loud. I'm never, never, never gonna forgive that
Mhm.
person for that, or I'm never gonna forgive this person for that. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I don't know.
No, I totally understand that, but the forgiveness ain't for them. The forgiveness ain't for them, and let me give you a peace of mind and a reframe. Um, the scars will always be there, and that's just like if you had a scar on your body and somebody comes stab at it, it's still gonna hurt, right? So wounds and trauma and those things, they never really leave. You just learn how to walk in them. You learn how to pull yourself out of that
Right.
slump faster, right? When
Right.
you're triggered by things, you now know how to, okay, this is what's triggering that. This is my abandonment wound
Mhm.
being poked at right now. Let me pull
Right.
myself together. Because it never goes away, right? Those
Mhm.
things happen to us. We were abandoned, we were, assaulted and things like that. So that never leaves. And I think that's what there's a peace in that, right? There's a peace once you realize, okay, this did happen. It's a part of my story. There are going to be things that still trigger that, but now I know the root. And once you know the root, you know when to pull up the weed. Like, okay, all right, this, all right, I know what this feeling is. Let me gather myself. Let me do whatever it is that calms me back down or pulls me back into the reality, pulls me back into my power. I don't have to let those things control me anymore because now I've faced them and I know what they feel like, what they look like when they're triggered.
Right. So that's what I was going to ask you too. Like, so what advice would you give somebody who is struggling, who is trying to evolve, who is trying to change, who is trying to face that person in the mirror? What advice would
Don't
you give
rush.
them?
Don't rush healing. You'll
Hmm.
be forever healing, right? Because even right now, we still have things that are going to come about in our life that we'll have to heal from. We still have losses, that'll come. Let's be real. Life is forever changing. You're gonna still encounter things. Healing is going to be a lifetime thing that you have to dedicate yourself to and start small. You don't have to heal every single thing at once, and be honest. Just be
Right.
honest.
I think that for the most part, I think that if it took almost a lifetime for you to, even like with me, I'm 59. It took up until just maybe 11 years ago where I said, okay, I got to do something different. I know it isn't going to take me 1 year or 2 years to heal or get past, things that I've been through. I know
Mhm.
that this is going to be a lifetime journey. But I think
Mhm.
that as long as I keep moving in that direction, I'm good to go. and then
Mm-hmm.
I'm not turning backwards. And not to mention too, I have to have a village.
Mm-hmm.
I have my support system, honey, because there's just days. There's
Mm-hmm.
days. I mean, I'm sitting around, woe is me, and because of this, and then and then I have to call that one friend that's gonna check me in, like, excuse me, ma'am, and
Yeah.
and bring me on back to reality.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. And that's all brings us back to that alignment, right? Because a lot of times we picking up friends along the way where we're trauma bonding. So they're not
Yeah, right there.
capable of picking you up. They're not
Right.
capable of going, hey, let me pull you back. And
Right.
so that was another reason why I wrote the book. I want to be the woman to help people pull themselves back because I didn't have that. I was doing that, but I didn't have that. And so I feel like when I step out, now I can create a community of women that are walking the same path, that are in alignment, that can check me when I need that check. And hey, sis, you spiraling. You operating out of that wound, that trauma showing up, and it's necessary, it's needed. So I wanted to be that voice for people. Like, okay, come on, we can do this. You've done harder. The
Yeah.
things that happened were harder.
Yeah.
You here now. You still standing. As long as God got breath in your body, you got a purpose to walk. You got a purpose to walk out, and your story can help somebody else. And we can now, like you said, you're 59, I'm about to be 40, right? There are women in their early teens, late teens, 20s, 30s that are struggling, and they need us so that they aren't waiting and they aren't affecting their children. They aren't ruining relationships. And because I had a guard up with women and friendships and things like that, because like I don't even want to give nobody the opportunity to hurt or betray me. But now I don't move like that, because if you decide to do something hurtful to me, that's a you thing. I can't walk around guarded, because people gonna be people. It's just up to me to see them and then move accordingly.
Well, Jewel, listen, we're probably going to have to end our interview right now. I didn't realize that the neighbor was going to be cutting grass, beating on cars, things like that, and interrupting our broadcast. But I want
I
to
don't even
actually get
hear
back
it.
with you and do another interview, because I just think that we need to go a little bit deeper with this. When you talk
Yeah.
about the mirror, let me tell you something. This mirror movement is powerful, and it's
Thank you.
something that is needed. It is something that is needed, because I always tell people, listen, women, without healthy women in the community, our whole community is sick.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know,
Yes.
people
Yes.
think that this is a man driven world, and it is not. It is not.
No.
It's not.
No,
It really isn't.
it's funny you said that. I was just talking to my friend and I was basically telling her, because she was kind of asking, like, do you feel like you helping men as well? And I said, absolutely. Because by me giving women the power back to themselves, they'll then be able to now speak life into their men. And that is, because men aren't vulnerable, but I personally have a way with men where they open up to me. They do become vulnerable. Have learned how to create a safe space for people. And so when I give other women that power, and now they know how to go home and talk to their man and allow him that vulnerability, now he heals. And now they can now become the leaders again in our lives. But we got to always remember the power starts with us. I'm sorry. I love the men. We love y'all. Y'all are
No
kings.
lies been told there, boo.
But
There is no
we you
lies been told there.
yeah,
And
we really
we
don't.
don't have to say it. We don't have to go around saying it. We don't. It's the
Mm,
truth. It is
yes.
the truth.
Yes.
Just like, think about our home. Our home is not healthy. Our home is not comfortable. Our home is not full of love when we're not well. That
Yeah.
was my whole goal. Like, even with my marriage now, we have a very healthy marriage, and I love it. My husband, this man, he is just amazing, and that's just that. Like, I'm the crazy one, and he's the level headed one. But he also know that if I'm not well, our home is not well. and
Yes.
he gets that. And I love that about him.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how he even teach that to other men, that listen, you
Yes.
have to honor your wife. Yeah, we don't like it sometimes, but we have to honor them. They are the one, they're the strong one. They're the ones that keep it together. We are the glue. We are the glue.
Yes. Yes. We're the y'all are the head. We are the neck. But that head can't do nothing without the neck.
Not one thing, hunty.
That one thing. So I want that to it's a domino effect. Once we heal, now we are passing down that healing to our children. And that's how you break generational curses. That's how you break those generational cycles by
Generational patterns, honey.
yes, all of the
Come
things.
on.
It's a domino thing, and I need women to understand how powerful they are. And if we're all walking around hurting, what's happening? That's still a domino effect. Now our children are hurting, our men are hurting, and they typically aren't going to speak on it.
No, they know, and that's so sad. That's a sad thing. That is a
Hmm.
sad thing. One thing I'm not even trying to keep bragging about my husband, but
No,
the
honey,
one
brag
thing,
on the husband. Brag on the
the one
husband.
thing, the
Because
one
women need to
thing
know
that,
there are men out there like that. They are.
yes, he
Yes.
is. Let me tell you, I love the fact that emotionally he don't mind being vulnerable, you
Mm-hmm.
know and I love it. I love it. My
Mm-hmm.
husband has no problem crying. He has no problem saying, I'm hurt, or
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, or any of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important,
It's very important.
yeah.
Yes. And they
Jewel,
need to feel safe doing that. And if they'll feel safe when we feel safe.
absolutely. Jewel, what is one thing that you want your readers to take away from this book?
That healing happens when you stop lying to yourself.
I got a moment, I almost ran down the street and ran back again. Say that one more time, please, for the people in the back.
Healing healing happens when you stop lying to yourself. That is when it starts. When you stop lying to you.
I thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I'm telling you, when I said in the beginning, I said, listen, this is a conversation for me too, because there's still some things that I know that I need to go ahead and be truthful about. Like, I could tell you that I go to work every day, come home, and I'm in the house. That's it. And I can't say that I have two best friends, but they're in California. But I don't really have friends because it's so crazy that when you're doing the work, you can actually see people who are not doing the work, and it's scary. I don't want to go over there. I'm
Yes.
scared
Yes.
because I don't want to do what you was doing, running back. You ready yet?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
getting off track and getting distracted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's a good one. Well,
Hmm.
where can people find your book?
They can find the book on Amazon. Um, Amazon, and then of course I do have it linked on my social. So the
Mhm.
Jewel Carter, everything is linked there, but you can mostly find it on Amazon right now. But we speaking life into existence. So hopefully it'll be in bookstores. It's also in libraries in Ohio. So all over Ohio you can order it in the public library if you got a library
Okay.
card. So
Okay.
she is in the library.
Yeah.
Or on Amazon.
Okay, well, Jewel, thank you so much. Thank you for so much for taking your time on your Sunday. I know you could be relaxing and doing anything, but thank you for dropping in. I'm sorry about all the distractions in the back, but I'm in a home office, so
I
but we
honestly
gonna
can't
make it
hear
work.
it.
Okay,
Yep. So
good.
you good. You
Yeah,
good.
we're gonna make it
I
work.
can't hear it.
We're
Yeah.
gonna make
No.
it work
Thank
because the
you.
message is so much louder than whatever is going on in the background. It's so much louder, and I needed this.
I
I needed this.
I
It
thank
has
you.
actually sparked something in me. I ain't gonna lie. It has
I
sparked
love that.
something.
I love that, and that's
Yeah,
what I want to do.
yeah,
That's what I want to do. I
yeah,
want to not only help people heal, but I want to activate that. I
yeah,
want people to be inspired and feel activated. I want people when they leave my presence, I want them to be like, okay, let's go.
yeah,
And I can
yeah,
take on anything. I can do anything because why? You standing right now. Right now, you still stand. There's nothing that can hold you back but you.
Well, okay. Well, so how can people find you? I mean, how can they find Miss Jewel?
They can find me on Facebook, the Jewel Carter, uh Instagram, the Jewel Carter. I am on TikTok as the Mirror Speaks.
Okay.
Um, because I do panels. I do a panel
Mhm.
every Monday on TikTok with a group of very powerful women. And if you have TikTok, ma'am, I would
I
love for
do.
you to come on
I'll be searching
one
for you as
day.
soon as I get off this phone, this
Okay,
right here.
okay. I would love for you to
Okay.
come up and talk and
Hmm.
do the things we do that typically every Monday, in case unless someone's schedule it doesn't
Okay.
align, then we'll move it, but we do put out a post to say we're moving
Hmm.
it. But it's usually every Monday night,
Hmm.
8:30 ish. And yeah, we it's
Yeah,
powerful.
it's powerful.
And I'm doing a lot more speaking. I have the podcast coming up on the 12th. Um and I'm just trying to move the mirror movement further. I'm trying to make this thing global.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you what you got coming up next. What's next? And you do any type of one-on-ones with anybody or anything like that?
I want to start offering that service. I did just get my life coach certification, so I am ready to start really doing this one on one. But again, I'll be honest with you, Venus. I'm doing all of this independently, right? No mentor. This is all God guided, and so he can't come down and fully direct how to put the strategy or the systems in place. And so I'm
Hmm.
learning and
Hmm.
researching.
Yeah.
I think right now I'm ready to take that on, do one-on-one, start mentoring, group things. We got big things coming for
We got
us.
big things. That's why I said we gotta talk, girl. I can't wait. I just love you, man. I said
I love you too.
I don't know what it is. Me and you just like and you somebody you was 20 years younger than me.
I got an old soul, honey. I always tell people I feel ancient. Like I genuinely feel ancient.
Well, you don't look ancient, beautiful. All right,
Thank
Miss
you.
Jewel, I'm gonna let you go and enjoy your Sunday, enjoy your son for today and everything. So listen to everybody that is listening. Remember, growth starts where you're willing to look at yourself honestly,
Yes.
truthfully, and just get real and get raw. And it sometimes it hurts. You will
Mm-hmm.
cry. You will be embarrassed. You will be ashamed. All that stuff will come about. But you got to remember to keep going because when you go back, it doesn't do anything but delay it. Just
Mm-hmm.
keep moving through it, move through it. Because I know me,
Mm-hmm.
I be in pain. I be like, keep going, Venus. Keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You
And we
know,
can be the example. Ladies, if you are struggling with that, look at these two beautiful women right here who have pushed through everything that they've been through. This is a clear sign that you are capable.
say it, girl. All right, Miss Jewel. Until the next time, and
Yes.
I'll text you a little bit later. And yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you.
We got some things to talk about.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right.
All right.
All right. See you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.